Have you ever noticed how your whole day can feel heavy, but then suddenly one tiny moment, maybe a laugh, the sun hitting your face, you noticing the beautiful autumn leaves, suddenly makes you breathe again? Well, that's a glimmer. And today we're talking about why these little moments matter more than you think. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Daniel James, a mindset and high performance coach. And my mission is simple: to give you the information that I wish I'd had sooner to help you wherever you're at on your journey. And if you're new here, welcome. So what is a glimmer? Well, a glimmer is the opposite of a trigger. And a trigger oftentimes is the start of a thought, feeling, or emotion that is undesirable. So a glimmer is the opposite. It's a small moment of safety, maybe connection, joy, or calm that signals to your nervous system that you're okay. Now, these are often pretty subtle. The sunlight through the trees, maybe you've been driving along and you see the sun breaking through the clouds. Maybe it's someone smiling at you. Could even be that first sip of coffee that you have in the morning. Or even that song you love playing on the radio in the background. But why do these glimmers matter? Well, they matter because the nervous system is always scanning for danger. We spoke about this before when it comes to the reticular activating system. It's a filter in your brain that basically tells your body what to pay attention to. And for a lot of us, our brain's been trained to focus out danger and focus on all the reasons why we're going to fail or why life is difficult. But we can train it. We can train it so they can actually scan for safety. And these glimmers help shift you out of that fight or flight into rest and regulate. And then over time, this rewires your baseline state from stress to grounded and, more importantly, present. So the Glimmers mindset is fundamentally about choosing to look for what's right instead of constantly scanning for what's wrong. Now, we're not talking about toxic positivity here. That's not anything that I preach. My clients all vouch for this. I never preach toxic positivity. I never want to claim to preach that. What we're teaching here, what we're talking about here when it comes to these glimmers is what I call nervous system awareness. Because I always say we need to start with awareness. If we're not aware of something, how can we possibly change it? If you have a bit of something stuck in your teeth and no one makes you aware of it, or you look in the mirror and catch it, you then become aware of it, you can do something about it. So we're not ignoring the problems. We're just balancing your perception so that your system has room to respond instead of react. Because a lot of the time we just react. Reaction is that impulse. And how many times have you done or said something and straight away you're like, oh, shouldn't have done or said that? That's reacting. And again, if we can create that space, we can then respond. And a response is choosing. We're identifying the situation and we're choosing to respond. So how do we start to practice noticing and paying attention to glimmers? Well, the first thing is just to slow down. Just enough to notice that warm breeze, if they even exist anymore in autumn. Or notice a deep breath that feels good. Just sometimes we're feeling heavy and we just feel ourselves relax. Notice it. Maybe it's someone's infectious laugh nearby. But name it in the moment. That's a glimmer. We've heard about glimmers of hope, but this is like glimmers of happiness. Because the naming of it anchors it into our nervous system as safe. And that ultimately is what a lot of us are looking for. It's safety. Things may have happened in the past, and we're constantly searching for safety, not just externally, but also within ourselves. That's another podcast for another day. So how this impacts identity and self-worth, because that's the bigger thing. How does it actually impact it? Well, when your nervous system feels safe, you feel more confident, more open, and more connected. And that makes sense, because if you don't feel safe, why would you want to be exposed? Why would you want to stand out? Why would you want to be noticed? If you don't feel safe, you're going to cower away because you're afraid of danger. Just think about it logically. If you're afraid of a lion, would you just be walking around or happy and confident? No, of course you wouldn't. You'd get it really small and you try and hide away so the lion doesn't eat you. Same principle applies here. We don't tend to think about it that way. But life starts to feel richer and more meaningful, even without anything big changing. And this is because glimmers open the door for inner peace, joy, and more importantly, presence. We want to be more present. We talk about a lot, like being in the moment, but this is how we can do it. It's like when we ground ourselves and we notice like the table feels nice or our clothes feel good in our skin. This is the same thing here. We're actively searching for those small little moments, these small glimmers that are going to help us. So I think I want you to practice here, if you're up for it, is for the next 24 hours, intentionally look for 3 glimmers. Write them down and then notice how your body feels after you acknowledge each one. And then hopefully, the more we practice this, it will become a habit. And throughout the day, we can have these nice little anchors of peace, calm, and safety. If you've taken any value from today's episode, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. It massively helps the algorithm to get this episode out there. And if you think somebody you know would benefit from hearing this message, don't forget to share it with a friend. Until next time, take it easy.